To start off, I'd love for you guys to introduce yourself and give us a 30-second, what is FlagPole Buddy?
Let's introduce ourselves first. I'm Dave Jahnz. This is my wife,
You're the
Christine.
owner. I'm
the
Christine Jahnz. I'm the president.
She's the president. And then outside the window over here, we have Sasha. There she is right there, hanging out. She's
I'm Sasha, and I'm the problem.
yeah, pretty much she's the problem child. She's the office manager, just
Marketing and operations. So I
Yes.
run like the day to day and run our social media, and I wear the hat that's given to me for the day.
She
Yes.
does almost everything.
It's very hard though because her head's really big, so we have to get some really big hats.
FlagPole Buddy suggests that all you do is flags, but it's going to be so much more than that. So the idea behind Beyond the Brand is getting to know you, the company a little bit, and telling the story behind the story. Beyond the Brand is kind of getting beyond just the products, although those are absolutely important and there's some great products out there. But I think so many people don't know what's out there. So the podcast is very dedicated to talking about you guys, what made you start it, what made you get involved. But then, kind of an overview, and then we're going to deep dive into what your product line is and that sort of thing. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's take us back to the beginning. When you guys started, where were you? Were you in the RV space?
Well, I was born in a small town, LaPorte, Indiana. Had no idea about RVs. We're talking 66 years ago. And I ended up in aerospace after working in a foundry for a long time. And I ended up going to Purdue University. Yeah, go Boilermakers. Yeah, they're in the basketball Sweet 16. And so after college, I ended up in Tucson, Arizona as an aerospace engineer for Hughes Aircraft. That company went down. I ended up here in California at a company that made turbine engines for aircraft, right? And I think within 2 years, I met you, maybe 3 years of that. And Christine was in accounting and all over the place. And at one time, you were like even my
wore many
secretary.
hats.
Remember that?
Mhm.
That was kind of cool. She was right over the wall from me, so I could hear her flirting with guys on the phone, and I was on the other side. I would never flirt with anybody. Yeah, it was a great. So we got married 35 years ago, and it's been bliss ever since.
That's
So
awesome.
I thought I heard Sasha back there mouthing off. Um,
Not a word from me.
I hear you back there. See, okay. It's in 2004, I kind of got tired of the corporate life. You go up the ladder and do all that. You have to kind of climb over people and things. It's not very fun. It's just like this sucks. It was just awful. So in 2004, I came up with this idea of how to hold a flagpole on an RV because we would go out to the desert. She taught me all about the desert. I knew nothing. From Indiana, all there is cornfields, right? Forever. So I knew a lot about corn and cows and things like that. So we went out to the desert. I just loved it. And we'd race out every weekend and we'd bungee our flagpole up to our RV. And then people would find our RV because of the flag we put up, right? And so at the end of the day, taking it down, you're cutting and doing all this stuff. And it's like, oh, it's a pain in the butt. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay. So I'm sitting there drinking and thinking, right, having some cocktails.
Hey,
Yeah.
some of the best ideas come from that. I'm just saying.
Let's do it.
It gets better.
So I'm drinking, I'm thinking there's got to be a way to do this, right? Hold this thing in two spots without having to climb up the ladder and put the pole down into something and hang on to the ladder and zip tie and do all that stuff. So I'm thinking back to my childhood days, right? And there's this thing, G.I. Joe. I don't know if you remember G.I. Joe or not. G.I. Joe could hold just about anything. He could grip things. It was like, how does this G.I. Joe grip things? And I can't. So I'm sitting there messing around and I came up with this idea right here of actually taking a pole and angling it in and putting it in like that. So it's kind of like what G.I. Joe was doing. And so it's like, oh, okay, cool. So I made some and I gave them to my friends. And then she said, we should do something with that. And so I got a patent on it and we started our little business out of the garage. And within a few years, it started going a little somewhere. And then Christine quit her aerospace job.
2008.
and went into the garage.
Yes.
So here's my wife at the garage
Yep.
working. So we had cameras all up and everything because people would come to the house and buy the product. And it was like, I don't really like that. So in like 2011, she was at a show
Uh-huh.
with her friend selling, and it was Pennsylvania. It was a Hershey show. And she calls me. I'm in a meeting in corporate. And she calls me up. She says, "Hey, this guy just came by." I'm like, "Yeah, okay. Was he hitting on you?" She says, No. Yeah, he says he's the owner of Camping World and he wants to get our product into his store. Not very trusting. I wasn't. And so I looked him up and I said, "Well, what did he look like?" And she says, "Oh, he looks like this." And I'm like, "Okay, that's pretty cool. It looks like them." And she said his name, and it's just like, this guy, Marcus Lemonis, owns Camping World. So he asked me to call him. So I called him and talked to him about it. And he says, "I want your product in the store."
But wait, before he was on, Marcus, I asked for a business card, and he actually is like, "Well, I don't carry a business card." He's like, "Can you give me a piece of paper and I'll just write my name and my phone number down?" So right there, I'm like, okay. I didn't really trust him. That's why I called David and asked.
Yeah. And
Well, that makes sense. I mean, I was just at an event last week where, a lot of the senior executives don't carry business cards, or if they have them, they have less than 10 in their wallet. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
I must be a senior executive because I only carry one.
I don't carry any.
So you're more senior
I'm
than
more
that.
So you'd be writing your name down on a piece of paper now too.
I would.
So the funny thing is, he said, "I'll take. I want to put you in the store. Okay, call the buyer up." Now we've been trying to get in Camping World for years, right? So we knew which buyer to
Mhm.
call. So we called the buyer up, and a day later she says, "I'm sorry, we can't do that. We're downsizing. We're getting rid of small vendors and things like that." I'm like, "Okay, well, thank you." And I sent a nice email to Marcus. "Thank you very much. The RV industry's great," and blah, blah, blah. And the next day I get a call from the buyer and she says, "Well, I'll take 2 of everything and put them in our stores." I'm like, okay. So that's cool. So we're doing pretty good there. And then the garage got too big, full of stuff. We had inventory in the house, in the bedroom. It was just crazy. So the Camping World started carrying our products. So then it was like, Christine found this place out in El Cajon, California. So then I moved in here, and we've got some good employees. Sasha, she's out there. Sasha, turn
Really
your
good
ears off.
employees.
Turn your ears off, Sasha. I don't want to hear this. She's really a really, really good employee. She's got great personality. She's great with customer. God, you're making me cry. Stop it. And then we have 2 out in the shop here. They're fantastic also. And then when we make bigger pallets to go into Amazon, our injection mold shop, which is not ours, it's next door, they manage to pallet everything for us. So we don't have as many employees because we outsource a lot of the work from that standpoint, that we don't have to. Employees are some of the harder things to deal with, right?
For sure.
Sasha?
So what would you say the problem that you ran into that nobody was solving when you created FlagPole Buddy was? I mean, because it's a pretty unique item. It holds not just a flagpole now, and we're going to hop into what else it holds, but it's one of those things that, is a pretty unique item, but there weren't a lot of other competitors out there doing what you're doing.
No, there wasn't, and that's the problem. It was the zip ties. So if you just put it in a tube down low, the pole would actually bang on the ladder. So at night it was just crazy. A lot of sound. People would go up there and take them down. But what I solved is having an upper support without having to climb the ladder to get to it,
Yep.
and to keep you off the ladder, because ladders they're very unsafe. More people get hurt on ladders than any of us really realize, because it's very common. At our extended age, once you fall off a ladder, even if
Extended age.
these youngins that work here, they're 30 years old.
Yeah.
They know nothing. They know nothing
They don't.
of getting hurt. When you fall off a ladder, even 3 or 4 feet high, it hurts. It can be a life-changing event if you get too high. And then, a lot of these guys are getting stubborn and they say, "I'm going to climb that ladder anyway." And the wife's down there, "Don't climb the ladder." So that is the problem that we solved. We help people basically be safer with their RV system, with our flagpole system.
For sure.
We started selling.
All right. So was there ever a moment where you were like, this is it, I'm done?
That was yesterday.
Yeah, that's true.
Sasha was mouthing off too much, and I said, "That's it, I'm done."
You gotta keep it light and fun in the workplace.
Yeah.
Goodness, you don't have an HR department.
Yeah.
I am the HR department, so yeah.
Well, I mean, being a small business, there's days that you just, it can feel insurmountable. Like some things just feel like they're against you, show booth increases, all those things. And I mean, we've seen your teams all over the country. And so, getting out there and getting your name out there is one of those things that as a small business owner myself, it's got its own set of challenges. When was the first sign you felt like you had something very real on your hands? Like, was it that moment with Camping World, or was it something else?
I think it's when we actually got to move out of the garage and into this facility. That was huge.
And that was all based on camping.
Yeah, and that was, yeah, it was.
That's when things changed. We did. I don't know if you're familiar with Quartzsite, Arizona, and the big RV event there.
Yep. I remember, before Kimmy took care of it, I remember we've been out there for years. We haven't been out there since, well, it's been a bunch of years. So
yeah, we've been going to that probably 30 some years before we actually got into this business. We'd all go out there with our friends and put up flags and circle the wagons, right?
And we could shop.
And shop and come back and show everybody what you got and that kind of stuff. But once we did our first show out there, which was pretty awful.
It was main event, and we were in a canopy, a 10 by 10.
Yeah.
So we went over to Tyson Wells, and we had our RV, and we sold off of it. And then we actually moved to the big tent.
And the reason we moved to the big tent, because it was one of those days I'm thinking, I'm done with this, because we're outside and a storm came up and all the tents, the canopies, they just took off. Everything just took off. And we're sitting inside our RV watching the canopies go, and it's raining. We're not selling. We're miserable. It's cold. And I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. But we said, okay, let's just try inside the big tent and see how that goes. And that went really well. So we do the big tent every year. We get 3 spots, and that's turned out really good.
Yeah.
So
it's fun.
To think you started in a 10 by 10 outside, and now you're in 3 spots.
Yeah.
3 whole spots, and you're in the middle area of the big tent.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Prime location in the big tent.
When did you realize that FlagPole Buddy could be more than just for flags? I mean, because, okay, so maybe you don't know, my background is in RV roofing. We own an RV roofing company. And so I can't tell you how many people mount their Starlink to the top of their roof, and I cringe every time. And so I tell everybody about FlagPole Buddy because you don't have to do it that way.
Exactly. That's a good point. I think satellite dishes. Remember the tailgaters?
Yep.
I made a mount that attached onto our poles, and that was kind of a hey, it's not just for that, for flags. And then when Starlink came out, I mean, as soon as I saw Starlink, I'm like, this is fantastic. So I bought the big first dish and put that up on a pole, and it's heavy. I'm like, I don't like it, but I knew that being a camper for all these years, an RVer, the worst problem is these cell boosters. None of them work. I tried every one of them and I couldn't get them. Maybe a little bit of work, but if you don't have a cell signal for coming your direction from somewhere, you're never going to pick it up anyway. So when I Starlink, I'm like, you can go anywhere. Wow, this is going to sell.
Was that a customer driven idea, or was that something that you were like, no, this is what we have to do next?
No,
That
that's
was
all. That's
David.
me. Yeah, I was just like this. This has to do this. We've got the system. This is a natural for that. And I've tried to put other things up there. I put lights and things like that up there, and those are okay. But it's not the seller that the Starlink is.
Right. So what would you say makes your Starlink mount different from just propping the dish up on the ground wherever they are, other than the fact people aren't going to drive over it?
Well, that is. I've heard stories of deers taking them off with their horns. Right, they get near them and they get caught in the cable and they run off. Kids ride their things, their little ramps right over them. You hear all sorts of stories. And then the other problem is that if you're parked next to somebody in a campground and you want to put it out, you got to make sure you put it in front or back or somewhere, because the side of the RV will get in the way. And so I don't know, putting it up above the rig just kind of made sense to me.
For sure.
Yeah.
So do you think the Starlink product line has changed how like people think about FlagPole Buddy as a whole then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would hope.
Yeah. Because there's times I says, well, why don't we change the name to Starlink Buddy?
Well,
Well,
I mean, I think FlagPole Buddy's well branded, so there's that side of it. What do you have any other campsite problems that you're looking at that you could, probably solve with a similar item?
We're always thinking of new issues.
Oh, I come up with all
David is
sorts of
so
stuff. Oh
creative.
my gosh, my latest one. This is you're familiar with the Starlink Mini? Okay, so this is I have my production. I have 40 3D printers, so I do my own production in
Oh,
house.
nice.
So I can design anything, and the next day I can test it out. And if somebody wants something special, I can design it for them. We have there's when we started, there was like one ladder out there, and it was a 1-inch diameter ladder. So I hard tooled for that. And then now saying there's a bigger one, 2-inch. Now there's square ones. Now there's rectangular ones. Now there's octagonal ones.
There's 14 variations we have.
Wow.
So I've designed and we print those. So whoever wants something, if somebody calls and says, "Hey, I got this kind of ladder," and I said, "Well, measure it." Boom, I'll make you a mount for it. Not a problem. So things like this is one of my newest things. This is what we call the fist. As you can keep, it's a fist, and it holds a Starlink Mini. So what you'll do, it's on the suction cup, not quite all the way tight, but it's on the suction cup. And what you'll do is you go rotate it to wherever you want.
That's really cool.
So now you put it on
Yeah.
the side of your RV anywhere you want. You can put it on your van. You can put it on the hood of your car and tilt it this way. It goes just about anywhere. That's one of our big items now is these industrial strength suction cups with our proprietary white material.
Well, and they hold really well. We've been in a windstorm up to 70 miles an hour with them. And I mean, we've gone out to check it and it's still holding strong. It is a great suction cup. It really does what it's supposed to do. What would you say surprised you about how the community, like the RV community, responded to your product?
Does anything surprise you, Dave?
What did you say, Sasha?
Does anything surprise you?
No. Well, I'm surprised that I'm not surprised by much. Some things that don't sell. I am surprised at what doesn't sell. We have some lights that don't sell. Really cool. So like a sparkler, right? It fans out and it's solar powered, and you can crush it down and store it. And it's not
Make it into all different shapes.
yeah, you can make it into heart shapes. You can make it into a scorpion, all sorts of things. And I'm just like, I don't get it. It's not selling.
So if it means anything, I don't think I've ever seen one of those. And I've been a full-time RVer for 13 years. So maybe it's that people don't know that it exists.
That's true. And they did just come out in January of this year. So it's only March.
I know, but
So they could find those on the website?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. So what would you say is your core customer, and has that shifted over the years?
yes, it has shifted. When we first started out, it was just the RVer that was going on vacation or, maybe a couple of weeks on the road, that kind of thing. But what happened was COVID, that pandemic really, really put us on the map, I think, because at that point, the only place to go where you could be safe without having to wear a mask was your RV. So your whole family's in your RV. They're traveling all over the country. They couldn't make enough RVs.
Yep.
And with RVs, they want accessories. And guess what? One of ours was an accessory. I look at it like a golfer, right? You go to the golf club, right? And the resort, and you're talking to your buddy, and he says, "Hey, I got this new titanium bubble. Wow, look at this. This is so cool." Next thing you know, he's got it, and the other guy's got it. And it's the same kind of thing with our product. The guy putting up his flagpole does that like that. And they says, "Hey, how'd you do that? That's really cool." And I says, "I want that." And so then they get it. It's kind of like that. It's a mentality thing. It's not a necessity item at all. People, it's a nice thing to have. And so I kind of like, okay, those groups were great. But then after COVID, what happened is everybody wanted to work on the road. And so the Starlink thing just boomed. And so now our market is kind of changing to younger people who are full timers with their families on the road and using the Starlink. Geez,
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think too, a lot of people, even people that fly a flag, maybe don't fly a flag as much anymore. I think that a lot of that has changed over the years. And you see that at the shows, where there used to be, hundreds of flags up. People don't take the time to do it. But boy, do they set up their Starlink because you can't have it without watching TV or something. So, for us, it's a work thing too. So we understand that. For someone that maybe has both the flag mount and the Starlink mount, what does that campsite setup kind of look like? Because I know for us it's really easy. I think it probably takes us about 8 or 9 minutes to set everything up from start to finish by the time you actually turn Starlink on and it finds the thing. So the setup itself is very easy. It's a breakdown for us. We have the 3-pole system where they click together, so we have a bigger one. We don't have the mini mount yet. We have a mini mount for our truck, but not through you guys. And so that's a different type of mount. And it's actually because my husband will go to job sites where he's off grid a lot of times. And that's sometimes the only way he can keep in touch with us from wherever he is. So we have one on the truck. But I bet that one that you just showed would be a good mount for that because he could do that wherever he wanted to. So
Not only that fist, but there's a few other flat mounting options now. So there's the fist, the sidearm, and a flat mount.
okay.
And there are suction cups on it that has done really well. And we are actually working on, we talk about a change of customer. We are starting to dabble in the overland community. So a lot of those off-grid or vehicle users that are using the Mini, we have quite a few tailored options for that.
That's awesome. So is there a sequence that you'd recommend if someone were looking at, a FlagPole Buddy mount for their Starlink? Where would you'd first probably start by asking, what kind of Starlink system do you have?
Yes.
So walk me through that.
Sasha, you take care of this.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
If you called me and said that you had a Starlink and you're looking to put it, usually a customer's going to tell me if they're looking to put it on an RV or what they're looking to put it on. I'd ask you what generation you have. And then if it's going on an RV, my first option to you is going to be a ladder mount because that's our bread and butter. It's what we're known for. And it's the easiest option to set it and forget it, right? Especially if it's somebody who's an older crowd, who's a full-time RVer. You put it up and you just have to take your pole up and down. Easy peasy. My next option would be on an RV would be suction cups because now you can move it around the ladder, right? So if you're somewhere where there's tree coverage or for whatever reason you're not getting good service, you can move it around the ladder to wherever's best or move it around the RV to wherever's best for you. Now, if you're somebody who's taking your Jeep out, you have a Mini and you need something on the RV and you also need something on a vehicle, you could easily have your ladder mount. Again, that's where I'm going to tell you to go first. But then we can put a flat mount or the sidearm or any of the suction cup options onto your car. So I think they're all a good complementary too. If you are an RVer who goes out, you'd have the core item and then you can add something else to it. If you're not a big RVer and you're just an overland kind of person, you go out, you're a weekend warrior, you're off the grid or what have you, the flat mounting options are going to be the best. Nobody really wants to put 13 feet of pole onto a 4Runner or a Jeep or what have you.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense. So what would you say is something that people consistently get wrong about the FlagPole Buddy? I know it's a tough question.
Get wrong.
Do they confuse you with other brands? Do they?
Yes. So it's not that they confuse us with other brands. It's going back to when FlagPole Buddy started, it answered a problem that wasn't being answered anywhere else. Now, everybody thinks they can answer that problem, and the market is oversaturated with things that are not up to par for the price. So thankfully, FlagPole Buddy's been around for the amount of time it's been around, has a proven track record of you get what you pay for. So that price for product discrepancy, because there's so much of it out there, that would probably be one of the bigger issues. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. So if someone was on the fence about getting a Starlink mount specifically, what is one thing that usually seals the deal for them to get a mount with FlagPole Buddy?
Convenience, customer service, warranty, the fact that you talk to a person and not an AI generated not human being, I guess. We're people, we're not just a business. And usually that all of those things along with the quality of what you're getting is why people shop with us.
Well, and mine has lasted forever. I mean, I would actually have to ask my husband how long we've owned it. I mean, we've had it since at least 2022 when we got our Starlink mount. It looks brand new, just like we just bought it. So it's not like it's weathered or anything. The quality is 100% there. What would you say the community means to a brand like yours in the RV world?
Dave, Christine?
Oh, community is huge. I mean, we are customer based and we always want to help the community.
Yeah, being RVers, we understand what the RVer needs, and so we can try to help them. And the RV, I got lucky, I think. Well, one, I got lucky with you, but the other, I got lucky is the industry we're in. Not knowing, not intentionally being in this industry, but the industry is a happy industry, right? People go RV.
It's fun.
They want to go out and have
Yes.
fun. We've done some trade shows. We've done some fairs, right? It's awful because people go to fairs and a lot of them aren't happy people. And so it's like, I don't want to be around unhappy people. I spent 30 years in corporate life being around unhappy people, and I don't want to do that anymore. We don't do any other shows but RV shows. Once in a while, you'll find this cantankerous old man, but usually after you get through it a little bit, he'll laugh and smile, and especially at the girls. I'm just kind of there, I don't know, just to be a bother.
Be there.
No, not true.
All right. So where can our listeners find you? Where's the best place to go shopping for a FlagPole Buddy or learn what it is?
A 3, 1, 2, 3.
FlagPoleBuddy.com.
And that'll be linked in the show notes. Do you guys have socials too that you have? Are you on like Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, it's FlagPole Buddy on both Instagram and Facebook.
And so it's a great place to follow along.
Great.
Perfect.
Awesome.
And I think the last thing I want to say is if anybody wants to donate to my GoFundMe page, I have a GoFundMe for an RV game, an app game to play on your phone.
Fun.
The game is really cool. I just need some funds to get it going, because I got to pay somebody because I know nothing about coding.
I love it.
Your backstory, he has wanted to do this. I've been a part of FlagPole Buddy since 2022, and this was a thing for much more time before my time here. And for one reason or another, right? That's a lot of work to make a game. It hasn't happened, but a little enticing for customers. With this game comes rewards, promotions, discounts, things for the customer. It's not just a game, although it is a really fun game. It's a win-win for everybody.
So if there's a developer out there right now listening,
Call
Yes, call us.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Learn to RV, the podcast on our Beyond the Brand series. I just want to thank you guys for joining us. Dave, Christine, and Sasha, FlagPole Buddy is one of those names in the industry that is well known, and we'd like to keep it that way. So we'd like to keep you in business as long as we can. If you do have questions about FlagPole Buddy, how it works, and you happen to be near me, I'm happy to show you my mount, not in a weird way. But it's a great tool, and it stops you from drilling into your roof or into the side of your coach, which you really don't want to do in the first place. So FlagPoleBuddy.com, stop by, see their stuff. I think you said you're on Amazon too. You can get FlagPole Buddy pretty much wherever. If you are at a RV show or rally, ask the vendors. They'll show you how it works. Even if you already own it and you're not using it to its full capacity, Sasha has been great to work with. I've been dealing with her for a couple months now, trying to get this episode recorded, and she is constantly replying back to me right away. And so if that's the type of team that they have, then that's the type of team you're going to have all the way through. So thanks, guys. Thanks for being on Beyond the Brand, and we'll see you around the campfire.
Great.
Sounds great.
Thank
RV
you.
on.